Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pop Go the Writers. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I'm all right.
All right, good.
Normally, Jim and I take a second and we chat before the show starts.
Yes,
But
we do.
but I was running around like crazy, and
Okay.
yeah, it's been a it's been.
For a moment there, I thought I was doing the show by myself. Oh, I could do it. I could do it. I'm been known to talk.
Yeah, oh, I think you could do that, but I'd have to start the show and end the show.
Yeah, that's I know. I didn't know what was going on. I just went with it. I figured I was it was going to happen one way or the other.
Yeah. So how you doing, sir? I mean, we didn't talk last week.
Yeah, I was wiped out from a show that I did. I did back-to-back shows last weekend, both one Saturday and one Sunday. So and it seems like a lot has happened, since then in the world of pop culture.
It has. It has. Yeah, I mean, just SAG-AFTRA strike ended,
That's the
though.
one that I was thinking of. Yep.
Though there's a lot of rumbling right now. I
Hmm.
guess the rank and file isn't quite as happy with the deal as the heads of the president of SAG-AFTRA and the
Mhm.
board are. They've already signed off, but you look online, Justine Bateman, the actress, broke down the actual deal about AI, and it is not as protective as it's made out, as it was kind of led to believe. And you can still be scanned and used in perpetuity across multiple movies.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot there that I don't think they got as good a deal as they kind of led on to.
So all the members, I mean, if they don't like it, they can say no. Isn't that how that works?
I think that's possible. So I'm not 100% sure what's about to happen.
Hmm.
So
I wonder why the leaders took the deal, you know.
because maybe they weren't going to get a better deal.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, and to go into the holidays still on strike. People haven't been paid in 120 days. Your
yeah.
rank and file members are having a rough go.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I get it. So, maybe I wonder if the rumblings are mostly in the higher ranks.
Possibly.
Hmm.
Like I said, I've seen some responses to her post. She did a whole breakdown of that clause, and like I said, it doesn't sound very good to me.
Hmm. I wonder if she was supposed to do that or if that's supposed to be confidential.
I don't know, but
Hmm.
we shall find out.
Yeah, I mean, speaking purely for myself, I just hope that they get something wrapped up and they like literally like one Marvel movie next year.
Yep, they moved Captain America out of 2024,
Yeah,
so
into
they've got
January, I think, right?
February.
February, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be Captain America, then Fantastic Four, and
Mm,
then Thunderbolt, and then Blade
mm,
in 2025. But yeah, all we have is Deadpool. Hey, Ed.
mm.
So that's going to be kind of interesting to see
Well,
how that plays out. But we're still going to get a bunch of shows next year.
sure.
We're going to get Agatha. We're going to get
Yeah.
Echo,
Hmm.
you know. And suddenly people seem to think Echo may be better than they expected.
I have no expectations for that. I'll watch it. I just, in fact, if anything, I'll probably be watching it more for D'Onofrio than anything.
Yep.
But, I mean, it's part of the whole, grand scheme. So, of course, I'll watch it. But I literally have zero expectations for
Well,
that
Marvel's
one.
doing something interesting. They're introducing a new imprint, is almost a way to put it. Marvel Spotlight, and that's what they're going to use for that show. And it basically lets the viewer know that it's this is something that you can watch without having to watch a bunch of other stuff. This is more of a street level, character driven series. And Daredevil is supposed to also fall under
I don't
the
think
Marvel Spotlight.
I don't think I've heard that. But that's odd because you would have at least have to had watched um what was
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Hawkeye would have fallen under Marvel Spotlight too.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, sure, the Chitari were in there.
Mhm.
Ed says, "Is another season of What If coming?" Yes. There's
See, that's
another,
what I was wondering.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's another, I believe, 10 episode. It's at least 9, but it might be 10 episode What If series is in the works. And I thought that's what we were going to get next, or that we were going to get in December. But
Yeah.
the problem is there really hasn't been a lot of communication from Marvel in a long time.
Hmm.
I mean, they did that one thing where they introduced, the fact that it was going to be Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. And then we haven't seen any kind of follow up presentation to
Yeah.
really kind of adjust or break down. But things are moving and sliding. And
So there's not any usually they do those things when there's some big event like the D23 or whatever that is. So there's nothing like that for the rest of the year. So we probably won't get any kind of a
well,
update,
we
right?
in December is when we got like Blade, the announcement for Blade and
Oh.
for Echo and stuff like that. And that was at an Investors Day meeting.
Okay. Okay. So there is still the potential for that to come up.
There
I
is,
had uh well, it was just today or yesterday in my Facebook memories thing. There was where I had reposted a lot several announcements, and one of the things that I had totally forgotten about was the Marvel Zombies series.
yeah,
Like, and I guess it's animated, of course,
yeah.
but like I haven't heard anything more about that. Like, I wonder if that's still happening.
Of all the things that might slip away, I wouldn't be heartbroken if that one went away.
I enjoyed the what if episode,
I didn't mind the
with
what
it.
if, but I'm not a zombie guy.
Yeah, I'm not either, and I'm not that big on animated shows for that matter too. Although I really liked What If,
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to another
What's
one of
funny
that.
is that Lisa loves zombies. She's a big
Okay,
fan of The Walking Dead. She plays a game called 7 Days to Die, which is
okay.
all a zombie survival thing. And she got me playing for a while until the server crashed and we lost everything. We'd have to start over. And I'm like, I'm going to take a break. But our play style showed how much we liked or didn't like the playing zombies,
Mhm.
because there's this thing called Horde Night where a horde of zombies attack your base, and she always would jump out there and fight them on the ground and stuff. And we would build this like house and get a good. And I found a sniper rifle with a scope, and I'm just sitting up there going peking, 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 because I don't want to get down with the zombies.
Yeah,
I'm not.
you're more cautious. You
I
like
am.
shooting zombies in a barrel. She likes, wading right in. Put on a pair of waders and just go right in.
Yeah. But then I'm also, when we play stuff like World of Warcraft, you know, I I'm a tank, you know. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go stand it right here. I'm gonna keep hitting this guy. I'm gonna look at nothing but giant monster crotch for the next 45 minutes while you guys are killing this guy. Keep me alive and have fun. You know?
So you would say that there's only going to be 2 live action shows next year for
Oh
Marvel?
no. I think there's other stuff in the works, but there's Ironheart is still being talked about, but that might get bumped to be closer to when they're going to do the Armor Wars movie. Um, there's still talk of Wonder Man. I don't know if that's up and running. I've heard other
Oh, geez.
reports.
See, I had forgotten all about that too.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's again, what we really need is Kevin Feige to roll his baseball capped hat out and give us an update so we know what's going on. Because otherwise, you have all of these ridiculous websites posting like crazy. All of these, this is canceled. This is going to happen. They're going to make a movie about this. That's not going to happen. It's like,
Well,
just
you said it best earlier, of why that's happening. Because if you look at that and you believe that, they're done. Marvel Studios is just like, they might as well be bankrupt.
oh yeah.
They're completely done. They've totally failed on every last thing that they've done recently, and they might as well just give it up, and nobody cares anymore.
Yeah. Ed, Squirrel Girl was actually, I think it was not New Warriors, but it was a team series that was going to happen, and it was going to be on Hulu, but that was done in the prior regime, back when there was Marvel Television and then and Marvel Studios, and then when that split got, and Kevin Feige took over everything, it's one of the shows that got its pulled the plug on.
Okay.
So no Squirrel Girl.
Hey, I'm looking up real quick on its Wikipedia. I understand that it's the MCU Phase 5 television series. What if season 2 is listed as in production. Echo is listed as post production. Agatha is listed as post production, and Ironheart is listed as post production.
Yes, it's been filmed, but
I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, they even Sacha Baron Cohen's in it, supposedly as Mephisto. No joke.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean that's all supposed to be in the works. Let's see, upcoming MCU. There's a site called The Direct that has a good list, and it says upcoming MCU. What if? Now, see, they still have it December 25th. I don't think that's happening. They have Echo January 10th, which I know is right. Then we have the Madam Web movie, which is Sony. Deadpool 3 got moved, so they're not updated yet. Venom 3, Captain America 4, Craven, Agatha Coven of Chaos, Thunderbolts. We still have the X-Men 97 series. Then Blade, Fantastic Four, Kang Dynasty, Ironheart, Avengers Secret Wars, Spider-Man, then the other ones are all speculation. But then again, we did get one or two teasers off of the Marvels, didn't we?
We got two. I would call it two teasers. Hey, by the way, Wikipedia lists Agatha as being called Darkhold Diaries.
Yeah, that's the new name.
Is it? Okay. I don't even think I heard that update. How many? I think this is this the third title, maybe?
Yeah, it started off as House of Harkness.
Yeah.
And then Coven of Chaos, and now Darkhold Diaries, and soon it'll be Agatha Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, or EE, because maybe it has to go CCDDEE. Wow. Okay. Wikipedia has updated to talk about the Marvel Spotlight thing, so I see that. I see that now.
Yeah, and technically, Sony can do whatever they want with Spider-Man. They could have multiple Spider-Mans, and it's now been established that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is not in the same universe as Venom and Craven and Madam Web and Morbius. So it is possible that they could do the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. They could do the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, or they could go completely different or they could do Tobey Maguire and Miles Morales, do a version of Miles Morales. They can do whatever they really want.
Yeah. Because it showed that Venom or Eddie Brock or whatever had jumped universes. I can't even remember what the heck movie that was in.
That that was the end of um, Spider-Man: Far From Home, and he
Yeah,
went back at the end of Multiverse of Madness.
that's right. Okay, right, right.
And who was he talking to that whole time?
Remind me.
Danny Rojas. Football is life.
Oh, okay.
The guy that plays Danny Rojas on Ted Lasso.
Gotcha.
I don't remember the actor's name, but I've seen. You know what? I've never watched Ted Lasso, but
Mm-hmm.
I've seen so many clips
Mm-hmm. That you feel like
that
you have watched it.
yeah, I do. That I know a lot of the characters. I know a lot of the story. And I'll tell you the truth. If anybody wants to watch Ted Lasso, there is one clip to watch that is such an excellent representation of what the show's about. And it's the dart scene.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen the dart scene, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but I do recommend it. Is Jason Sudeikis, it's Hannah Waddington, it's Anthony Head from um, Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Mm-hmm.
and the old coffee commercials, the Taste Your Choice coffee commercials. You remember those?
Yeah, yeah.
The guy and the girl dating. Yep, that was Anthony Head.
Oh, right, right. That is that guy. Right. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And
I forgot about those.
you
Yeah.
know who his brother is, right?
Murray Head.
Yes, One Night in Bangkok.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He was
I know.
also in the he was on the album of the original Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yep.
Yep.
I know way too much Anthony Head trivia.
Somebody has to.
But if you can't sing, One Night in Bangkok is a great karaoke song if you get stuck singing.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. I get it. Yeah.
So, all right, we're kind of all over the place. So you did go see the Marvels.
I did go see the Marvels, and I did so enjoy the Marvels, regardless of how I feel about Brie Larson.
I got to tell you, I am starting to think, and someone else posted this, but I'm going to steal their line,
Yeah.
that of the four, that all the people that went and saw the Marvels
Mm-hmm.
must be in my social media streams.
all 10 of us.
It must be all of them because nobody went to the movies except everybody is talking about the movie, and just about everybody's going, you know what? I had fun. I don't get it.
I have actually had a lot of that in my feed. I've also had some people go, well, it's certainly not the greatest Marvel movie, and it's like, no, and I don't think it was ever intended to be.
No.
It's a little heavier than I thought it was going to be, as far as what happens in it, and especially at the credit scene, of course. But it's very fun. It's very wow. At times it's really in your face. It's really like shotgun or machine gun with throwing stuff at you, especially maybe like in the first half of it. And I've said it before, I'm not a Brie Larson fan in these movies. I don't know if I've ever really seen much of anything else that she's ever done, but she's better in this than she was in the Captain Marvel movie and in, what was it, Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
But I still just I have trouble like believing in her or in the character, although she does have more of a range of things to do in this one. I still like, is it Imani? Is that how her name is pronounced? Or
Iman Vellani.
Iman Vellani. I'm taking the I from her last name. Yeah. What I was really surprised about is how much of her her whole backstory or whatever comes into the movie with her,
Yeah.
i.e. her family. Her family's a huge part of this movie. The mother, the father, and the brother. I mean, it's like, I think everybody really liked the family. I never imagined that they were this big of a part of this movie. I thought maybe they would just be in the beginning and that was it, maybe right at the end again. They're not. They're all through the movie. And then I love is it
Tiona Paris.
Teyana Paris. Love her. She's just as good in this as she is in WandaVision. And boy, oh boy, does she get she gets the end credit, the mid credit scene, really.
Yeah.
Which I never expected that either. But I think for me, like the end credit scene or the mid credit scene is pretty much what you were telling me about.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago, I think it was that we were talking about, with the addition of a wrinkle that I didn't see coming.
Right.
But at the very end of the movie, before the credits, that was a huge surprise of what happens there, and one that is very welcome. I opened it with I welcomed it with open arms, and I'm really excited about it. And I just hope it doesn't take very long for it to come to fruition.
Yeah, I put the spoiler warning up.
Oh, you did? Okay. Okay.
I do want to mention the post-credit scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't seen the film, but I know all about it.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know how they use the flurkins.
Yeah, that's the part of the movie that I really don't. Although that, I mean, it's an interesting way to use them. They actually have an important role to play. I just, number one, I don't like cats, and I just don't like the whole flirkin thing for that matter.
The second Jim strike, right?
I
Under
know.
doesn't like Princess Bride.
I don't like Princess Bride, and I don't like cats, and I don't like alien cats, and I don't like alien Cthulhu cats.
All right. We're gonna try to deal with this.
Okay.
All right.
I like pretty much all the rest of the movie. You know what? I think overall I liked the movie more than I expected to.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be, for the most part, fluff, but I said, okay, maybe that's what we actually need at this very moment. But it is that, but it's also, it also is fairly important to the ongoing. Well, you have now.
He is the only one I've ever met.
Is that I know there's other people out there that don't like Princess Bride.
I've never met anybody who doesn't like Princess Bride.
See, I never saw it. We had I think we did a whole episode on it, didn't we?
Yeah, probably, but still,
But the part of it might have been, some of it might have been this. I didn't see it when it originally came out. I only saw it just like a couple years ago, and it may be that I, literally like sat there and said, "All right, entertain me," and it just didn't. I don't. It's
true.
not funny.
When everybody says something's great, you kind of expect.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to go into it with an open mind, because I don't like it when people do that to me, where but I don't think it's very funny. I don't know. It's kind of boring. Sorry.
Have to make a new host wanted ad.
So the part about the mid-credit scene that pleasantly surprised me is, well, as you well know, Hank McCoy is in it.
Yeah.
And it is Kelsey Grammer. Although it looks completely animated.
It's full. It's a CGI.
Okay, but he wasn't CGI in the other movies, right? Okay.
No, he wore a suit in the other one. But
okay.
They went full CGI, which will be easier for him.
That's what I was thinking. He's older now. He probably just didn't really want to do that. And then it does have Monica's mother in it, of course,
right?
Which we talked about, and I'm really glad, because there's a setup for it earlier in the film, and then it pays off. What what the surprise was is that it's not just what's her first name? It's not Monica Rambeau. It's
No, it's
isn't that terrible?
I know. The important thing is the code name she goes by.
That's what, yeah. It's not that, and it's not just that. It's not only that she's binary, but she has the costume.
Yeah.
And it's very much playing off of the look from the comic books too.
Right.
What-
That's an extra level of importance because when Carol Danvers took the name binary and that costume is when she was with the X-Men.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, that was when she was associated with the X-Men.
Yep.
So then it makes a lot of sense that she's working with Hank. And there's that reference to Professor or to Charles.
Yeah, he says Charles is waiting for an update or something like that. Yeah, I can't remember how he says it, but he says Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked it up on, I have to look it up on the older movie. I looked it up on IMDb and it has her listed as binary.
Okay. not okay, not Mrs. Rambeau or what, Ms. Rambeau or whatever it is.
Mama Rambeau.
Mama Rambeau. So the sad part is that Monica is currently stuck now in the X-Men's universe. How long
Maria
that will,
Rambeau. Maria Rambeau.
Maria Rambeau, that's it. And this Maria Rambeau does not have any idea who Monica is. I mean, that's
Okay.
literally like her last line is who the hell are you, or who are you, or something like that. And Monica is now stuck there until we don't know, until the universes cross, I guess. There was almost a crossover, but they managed to seal it back up again. Well, Monica seals it back up, but she has to be on the other side of it to seal it. And get stuck there. So it's a really, really fun end credits scene, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But like I said, what I was more excited about was the beginning of the Young Avengers. Yay!
By the way, does anybody use Firefox and accidentally hit the button where they make it full screen and you lose your top and bottom stuff? Because I did that and I don't know how to get it back. So if anybody knows that, please let me know.
Okay, because I don't. I'm lucky I'm able to do this.
Yeah, that's going to bug me. Oh, well.
Young Avengers.
Young Avengers. I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I couldn't care less. I have zero interest in the Young Avengers. I've read the Alan Heinberg run with Iron Lad and Hulkling and all those characters and Wiccan, and it just never clicked for me. It just
you're just saying that because I don't like Princess Bride.
No, I'm not saying that.
This is the exact same thing because I love that. That was the Avengers, the Children's Crusade miniseries, and number one, I just love the art in that. But this is interesting because it's Ms. Marvel starting the Young Avengers.
It is not Shift Escape. It's gotten worse.
Well, what were you doing at the time?
I now can't see anything. I can't even get back to the page we're on, which means I can't read the things.
Okay, nobody said anything after Shift Escape.
Oh boy.
Oh no. It's just like at the end of the movie. You're now stuck in a different universe, and I'm in the regular universe.
Okay, how are we going to fix this? All right, Jim, you keep talking.
Okay, so in case anybody out there hasn't seen it, it's Ms. Marvel goes to see Kate Bishop, who is still superheroing, and when she comes in, Ms. Marvel says, basically says all the same lines as Nick Fury says when he was first starting to gather the Avengers together. She says about, putting a team together, and you're not the only teenage superhero in town, and things like that. And then she has a funny little line where she says, it's something like, "Hey, did you know that Ant-Man has a daughter?"
Right.
And that's of course because Cassie is a part of the new, or the Young Avengers in the comics. So to me it was very exciting, because the last thing I ever expected to see was Kate Bishop. I mean, literally the scene starts and there's a somewhat shadowy figure that's coming in, and it's obviously a young female with a bow and arrow, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Kate Bishop. What is she doing in this? So it was for me, it was really, really fun. I hope
Yeah.
they follow through and they get, the other characters. I saw somebody suggest that they could actually like take the storyline of Children's Crusade, because it's about Wanda coming back from everybody thinking she was dead. And it has Doctor Doom in it also. So that would be an interesting way to, you know, introduce him, I guess. It doesn't necessarily have to be Doctor Doom, but it would be an interesting storyline to somehow do that, where Tommy and Billy, I think it is, try to go and find their mother. Not any better.
Not so far.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Eddie says, "Can you move your mouse to the top of the screen and get the menu with the 3 lines in the corner?"
Nope.
Okay. And because he said, "Go in there and click the double-headed angled arrow by Zoom, and it should put you back."
First, I got to get out of the task. I figured out it's the taskmaster, but I got to figure out how to get out of the taskmaster.
Ah,
Oh, I
yeah.
wonder if this will work.
The Taskmaster, that was how many movies ago? Do you feel like you're stuck in the last episode of Loki?
Something like that. And why would you go to task? I mean, what's the? All right. By the way, who suggested escape? Shift escape. We're going to have conversations.
That's the only person in the room is Eddie.
Okay.
Oh no, Jay is here too. I'm sorry, but he didn't say anything like that. It was Eddie.
All right.
He might have done it on purpose. Well, did you do shift escape or just escape?
I tried. Well, they said both. So I tried escape. Nothing happened. I tried shift escape, and it took me into something else. And according to this list here, it's the shift. It's the task manager.
Okay, now he says function key and F11.
Function key. Well, F11 is a function key.
Okay, well that's what I'm just repeating what he said. I don't know. I'm not so sure.
Okay. Okay. There we go. There we go. We have a winner. Thank you.
Okay.
F11. Good job, Ed.
He got you into it and he got you out.
Yep. Ed's all saved. All right. So I don't want the Young Avengers because I still think there's so many other characters before the Young Avengers that we still haven't really spent that much time with. I don't, we still haven't finished up with the Eternals. Mm-hmm. We haven't had the second Shang-Chi movie. Mm-hmm. We still have a celestial sticking half up out of the water that nobody's talked about since the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the Young Avengers. I want an Avengers team again. You
But,
know?
but you must admit, or if you put yourself in the mindset of Kevin Feige and the rest of them, that it does make sense to go down this road because their cast is aging. They've already gotten rid of the two biggest, actors, and this is a way to have Avenger-like characters and have them be young and maybe be able to be around for a while. I mean, I see what
But,
you're saying and
but
I
I'm
like
saying,
what you're saying, but I can also see why they would want to go down that path.
but there's still Benedict Cumberbatch and Simu Liu, and again, you just introduced the Eternals.
Hmm.
You still have all these other actors that are still around.
Yeah.
So why are we now introducing a whole nother group of characters? And also,
Well,
it's
it's
like,
not a whole new cast of characters. It's just sort of gathering together characters that have already been introduced.
but that's my whole point is that
Yeah.
Marvel seems to be more focused on introducing characters than actually developing them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in a way, this is funny because it's kind of what Marvel Comics has done a lot of over the years, which is throw things at the wall and see what sticks. You know,
No,
yes,
because
yes, in comics they have
they started in 1962.
one. Yep.
The Young Avengers were in the 2000s.
I know. I
There
know.
are 40 years of stories they could pull from. This is the same thing that happened to Sam Raimi.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Raimi did Green Goblin, then he went with Ock Doc Ock, and he wanted to go with Sandman. And Sony insisted, because Venom was the new hot thing, to wedge Venom into the movie, and it was the end of that franchise.
Yep.
You
I
know,
I
and,
I hear you.
and if
I
you,
agree with you on that sense, but I'm still excited about this. And again, I mean, I'll go back to what I said is I can see from the studio's point of view that they would want these younger actors, younger characters, and in a way they emulate the Avengers. You know,
but
so.
and maybe it's just me not wanting to race through characters.
Hmm,
You know,
hmm,
because it's like I still think that we should have had a good James Bond like Hawkeye story.
hmm.
You know, but what did we get? We get him as a guest star in Thor. We get him as a mind controlled
Yeah.
pseudo villain in
I
Avengers.
always thought that was a funny, way to have the
Yeah.
character in that.
Um, Age of Ultron. Then but the only time he gets his own story, it's all about everybody's like, oh, he's retiring. We're going to get a new Hawkeye. We haven't really done anything with this Hawkeye yet. Oh,
But,
Scarlet Witch
but
is retiring. We have a new Black Widow.
Jeremy Renner's not getting any younger, though.
I know, and
Oh,
he's had his
I said
accident.
they got rid of their two big actors. They actually got rid of three of their big actors.
Yeah,
What am I saying?
I just like I said,
Hmm,
I just feel that they've spent so much time create or introducing characters and then doing nothing with them.
mm-hmm.
You've got Winter Soldier, you've got Falcon, that they're finally doing some more with Falcon. You've got Shang-Chi. You've just got a lot of characters they've introduced. You've got Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. That was the one I was going to say. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. We
She-Hulk.
have this Moon Knight character that they've done one thing with.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, okay, I thought Miss Marvel was so much better than I ever expected.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that series for all the reasons I expected to hate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I'm excited for one of the reasons why I'm excited for the Marvels. And it sounds like that's one of the highlights. the family and her
Yep.
the clip that we see on TV of where they're bipping around and she ends up in Nick Fury's office with a couple Kree warriors, and that little look on her face when she blips in, he's like, friends of yours? He's like, hi.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so perfect.
Yeah. She, the transition from her TV series to this is, very smooth. It's the exact same character. If you like that character, you get that. You get so much of her family, in this. So real quick, a quick note about the Eternals. I don't expect them to be returning anytime soon, if ever, to the Eternals. It didn't work for them. Well,
Word is that the Eternals 2 is in production, and Kevin Feige was asked on the red carpet the other night about Harry Styles and the fact that he was introduced at the end of the movie, that like they like to do,
yeah.
and he said that Harry is excited and we're excited to continue with him.
Okay. Well, which is like, what else is he going to say? Of course he's going to say the thing that I really want to continue from the Eternals movie is Black Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black Knight. We got the tease for Blade, and we haven't gotten to Blade yet. We're supposed to in 2025, but
well, that movie seems to be having problems even before the strike.
Jim will have to answer this one.
I heard there was an Easter egg Rob Liefeld joke in the Marvel, so I'm assuming someone didn't have feet. That might have gone over my head or off to one side. I'm afraid I don't really remember what that would be.
Okay.
I don't know if it would make it wouldn't make. I don't know why there would be a Rob Liefeld joke in a movie where it's not characters that he has an association with for the most part.
All right, we've spent a lot of time with the Marvels, which I thought was great, but we also spent a lot of time me trying to fix my computer. So we should probably shift to Loki.
Okay, now if you're not happy with that, then there's something.
Loki was brilliant.
Yes, it was.
Loki was absolutely brilliant.
Yes, it was.
I thought the season 2 made season 1 better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can see how they were two halves of the same book.
Mm-hmm.
There are little flaws in it. I think Sylvie got relegated to a background character in a lot of ways.
Yes. I do regret that she does take something of a back seat. There wasn't enough of her for my tastes. Yes.
Yeah, and I think the ending was a little too vague to be clever, or a little too clever in a sense. It's like they would mention things in a wink and a nod. It's like, okay, you're trying to tell me something here, but I'm not getting it.
Well, what part specifically, I guess?
All right, one of the specific ones is when they talk about the 616 adjacent realm that they took care of.
I got that immediately. Yeah.
No, I get that we're talking about the thing from Quantum Mania.
Yeah.
But is that saying that he's now gone? Or because
no, that they just took care of a variant. Like that's one of the variants they don't have to worry about anymore.
Right, but does that mean that variant is outdone?
I would assume so, but that doesn't mean there can't be another very much King-like, version from somewhere else. But yeah, I assume that's what that means. Yes.
Yeah, but see, to me, that was more of a reference than it was any type of actual answer.
Okay.
I
wondered how Quantum Mania fits in with this, because obviously we saw quite a lot of variants. So when does that actually take place compared or with season 2 of Loki?
Well, from what I understand, no, it's actually only through phase 4.
Right. I
Um,
remember you saying that. Yeah.
Quantum Mania takes place after Loki becomes the god of stories, or which is a name I don't understand, but
From what I understand, it's directly from the comics.
yes, I get that it's
Okay.
directly from
Oh,
the
okay.
comics, but
Okay.
I don't understand. There is no god of stories in Norse mythology.
There is now.
Yeah, but it just sounds like a writer being clever,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean in the comics,
Mm-hmm.
but um, God of Time would have made more sense to me. So
Okay.
it takes place after he sits on the throne,
Yeah.
but before wherever we're picking up the after from. And they don't even give us an amount of time. They just say after.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, so then where do we place Multiverse of Madness then?
before.
Okay, how could any of that exist if the TVA existed and was pruning other branches? You know,
For
so
what
that's
the fallacy that I think people are under is that there was only one realm in the sacred timeline.
well, but we saw variants of Doctor Strange, so those shouldn't have been able to exist with the TVA existing.
They could exist if they still followed the sacred timeline. If you looked at the Lumen stuff before, it still had multiple lines in it. It's
Okay.
just that all of them went along a path that didn't create a Kang.
Okay. I
So
guess that means that I maybe didn't fully comprehend what the sacred timeline is or
right,
was.
yeah, the sacred timeline basically meant no Kang was created. It
Right.
didn't mean that just the MCU,
Okay.
well, it kind of did because that's how Kevin Feige's using it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess Multiverse of Mayhem could have happened in the time between. So it
Well,
doesn't mean it doesn't, but
I think the thing about the Loki show and the TVA is that like uh time is off the table as far as regular tracking or clocking of time. Time passes differently in the TVA, although they say it doesn't pass at all. I mean, there's the whole thing about how long will that take you to teach me all that? Centuries. And then it just says centuries later.
yeah.
Like okay, what did that feel like to the people in the TVA when it's supposedly centuries,
See, but I don't think it was one of the cases that they all stood there for centuries teaching him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he kept looping back.
I gotcha.
So to that point, and then okay, this is what I already know. Keep going. Tell me
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Ed, they do have a scene with Mobius on a jet ski ish.
Ish. Yeah. Adjacent.
Yeah, he's not on the water,
Yeah.
but he is on a jet ski pretending to ride. And he's all about jet skis.
Right.
So, overall, it is still before season 2. I liked Loki a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't in my top
Mm-hmm.
Marvel series. It is now competing for that top spot easily. Um,
I
I,
mean,
I,
I
I
look at those two seasons as basically one big
yeah,
season. I mean, I love the way that it felt like it was planned out. That the whole thing was planned at once, and that it's eating its own tail. It basically comes back around.
which
At
is
the end.
which is so amazing because the 5th episode they wrote all the scripts, and the 5th episode was thrown out
Hmm.
and completely rewritten
Hmm.
because Marvel said no, you can't do that.
What
But
did they?
what's funny is that this is according to writer Eric Martin.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Everybody said that was their favorite episode,
Hmm.
but they couldn't do it.
Well, do we
So
know what it was?
not yet.
Okay. Okay.
We'll have to wait for another book to find out.
It's okay. One of the touching upon the thing about Sylvie, in some ways, even Mobius kind of took a little bit of a backseat, and I thought Loki was, but then he really, surged
Yeah.
forward again. I think the situation really came out of all these other characters were introduced this season, and it maybe got a little too. It became a little too crowded, or it became an ensemble piece where before it was basically Tom Hiddleston's series and all of that. But when you bring in OB, you had the character Brad. You start bringing in these other characters, and they demand time,
Yeah.
in the show. But it's my minor nitpick. I say it again. Back when Loki was first announced, that was at the bottom of those first few ones that were announced of series, and now it's really amazing how much I love that show, and I will miss it too, because although they said, oh yeah, there's probably some things that we could do for season 3, I don't really foresee a season 3, and maybe I'm kind of hoping that they don't do a
Well,
season.
we won't get one. If there is a season 3, I don't think we'd get one before Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
Because I think Kang Dynasty might be a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of this multiverse saga,
Yeah.
the multiverses are supposed to be gone.
Uh-huh.
Just like the Infinity Stones are supposed to be gone. But
Yeah.
I got a couple points I want to do here. But one of the things is, one of my favorite moments comes when Jonathan Majors is back. And there's a point where he realizes that Loki is so farther ahead than he thought.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Performance changed.
Mm-hmm.
He no longer acted a bit scattered. Suddenly he was very focused.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that's a brilliant piece of acting.
Yeah. That was very good. Yep.
The second thing is that there's now a growing theory online. And while I don't necessarily think this is what they're doing, I like the concept, is that Marvel is basically replacing the Infinity Stones with people. And Loki has just become the Time Stone. Scarlet Witch is the Reality Stone.
Yeah.
And
This
Monica Rambeau is the Space Stone.
Yeah. Yep. That's making some sense.
Yeah. And I mean, I see some validity to it, and their colors match up as well. Their power colors. Because you notice that Loki now, all of his powers are green, and he's used some purple magic in the past too, but it's all green now.
Yeah.
So I thought
I
that
like
was
that.
interesting.
Yeah. I actually like that a lot. Yeah.
Then you got to start thinking, well, what would the other 6 be, and who would those be, and what would and maybe that has something to do with what will happen in Secret Wars, or maybe that's something they're building down the line. It's something to keep an eye on. Not saying that's going to happen, but it's kind of an interesting theory to play with.
One of the things that I hope happens in the aftermath of Loki season 2 and the Marvels is that some of the fans, some of the people who haven't really been sitting up and taking notice of what phase is this? 5?
Yeah.
We're in 5. Will now maybe start to sit up and take notice and realize that the game is on, and we're really starting to see that if the mid-credit scene in Marvels doesn't make a lot of people go, oh, maybe I should start paying attention, to this, then I'm not sure what to say. I don't particularly like it myself because I don't want the X-Men in the MCU, but that's just me. I mean, I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Whether it happens in Deadpool or a little bit farther down the line, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, all the talk about how this is a flop of a movie and all that, the Marvels, you got to keep in mind it's getting an 85% audience score right now.
Yep.
And that is better than a big chunk of some other Marvel movies that are considered popular.
Yeah. Yeah. What has box office been?
That's only, it's 47 million domestic, 110 globally. But
Okay.
it did like only 11 million in China, and I think the Captain Marvel movie did like close to 100 million in China. So, but the Chinese market, I was looking into it for the Ant-Man movie, and Ant-Man 1 did close to 100 million. Ant-Man 2 did like 120 million. Ant-Man 3 did 39 million. The Chinese box office has been, since pre-pandemic compared to post-pandemic, has been like a third or to a quarter of what it was. People just aren't going back to the theaters, and it's kind of
Yeah.
all over the place too. I mean, there's
Right.
a handful of movies that are getting people into the theaters: Barbie, Top Gun Maverick, Guardians 3. But the bottom line is that those are now the outliers.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, because I think people are now choosing their viewing differently. When you know that 45 days or 60 days from when the movie comes out, you could sit on your couch and watch it.
Sure.
And maybe you don't care about spoilers. You might choose to sit on your couch and watch it instead.
Right. I think I said it earlier, and I want to tell you again. I really, really liked what you said on Facebook. It was worded very well about the sites that put up the negative headline thing to get you to read it, and that's the only reason that they have those. But then when they have their hits drop, their readership starts to go away because they're sick of all the negative thing is they turn around and they say, oh, it's because Marvel Studios is failing, Lucasfilm is failing, blah 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 blah. And it was spot on as far as I'm concerned. That's exactly the way I've been looking at it, and I'm so glad that you said it.
Yeah, and that is the lowest opening for a Marvel movie so far. The reason I say, I mean, there's a couple of these guys that do website stories, and I've stopped watching them because of the negativity.
Yeah.
And it's more than just they didn't like something, is that they beat it to death. Yeah. There's a guy named John Campea who I used to watch, and it's kind of how I came up with this idea to do this show. And I was watching him regularly. And when it came to Marvel movies, his number one complaint, and he made the same complaint about every show, is too short. And I just got tired of the negative comments. Well, now I watch Ryan Airy over on Screen Crush.
Yep, that's who I watch.
And it seems like in just about every video now, he takes a moment to talk about how bad, in his opinion, Secret Invasion was.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if it's been everyone, but yeah, I know that that he's making little sort of snide jokes,
Yeah,
about it. I don't think he really focuses on it much, but
no,
yeah,
I don't think he focuses on it on purpose, but I think there's this negative thing that's creeped into it, and it's like when you love when you go to the comic shop and you find a comic shop you love,
hmm
it's because you can walk in and the people there are excited to read the comics.
yes,
And
yeah,
yeah, I mean, they might go, this one wasn't that good, but this one,
yep,
you know, and you can talk about it and share your excitement.
yep,
I grew up on these stories and these characters. I love these characters. So I mean, I get tired of, being led to headlines that say, you know, uh, is Marvel doomed? Is this the end of the Variety story that made it sound like
yeah,
Marvel was falling apart?
yeah.
Or this new
Worst
book,
decision ever. I love those headlines.
yeah, Captain Marvel's a flop.
Yeah,
It's a $48 million flop. Lowest cinema score, one of the lowest cinema scores in Marvel Universe history. It's a B. There are movies out there with D scores.
yeah.
You know, you know,
Here, here's a
horrible critic.
here's a thought. I want to get your take on it.
Okay.
Could some of the low box office for Marvels be that all save for one, basically all of the stars of the movie are female except for Samuel L. Jackson. It's got 3 female leads and a female villain.
It is possible,
Yeah.
but not because I think, because I think there are people out there who refuse to go see movies like that. You see some of the reviewers talk about, oh, it's just what was it, a young lesbian romance story, and I'm like, was there a sex scene? Were people kissing?
No.
Then what the hell does it matter?
No. You know what's funny about that is if you're like a chauvinist or whatever, then you think you'd want to go to see a movie that has a whole bunch of really hot women in it
You would think,
in
yeah,
spandex,
yeah.
you know?
I,
I don't get it.
I think Brie Larson's attractive.
Yeah, you know what? I can at least admit that. I don't care
Yeah,
for her as an actress, but I can admit that she is an attractive woman.
yeah,
I think Teyana Paris is a very attractive woman. I don't really want to say very much about Iman because I think she's, how old is she?
she's 21.
Oh, is she 21? She's cute. Let me just put it that way. She's
She
cute.
is. She's in the cute category.
Yeah.
But and we've talked about this before. A lot of people judge Brie Larson's acting off of her performance in the first Captain Marvel movie. I mean, she's got like an Oscar, or she was nominated for an Oscar
Yep, I get it.
for a movie called The Room.
Yeah.
I look at that movie as she was playing a character with half of her memory missing. The fact is that she was trying to figure all that stuff out, piecing things together on an alien world where everything that she'd been told for the last 5 years or whatever it is suddenly a lie. That's why she's played that way.
Yeah.
To me, that's the same performance that Hayden Christensen gave
hmm
as Anakin Skywalker,
Yes.
because that's what the director told him.
Yeah.
And and so I don't necessarily put that on him as much as the director and the direction they got.
It can be the material. Natalie
Yeah,
Portman is considered to be a capable actress, but maybe not so much in the Star Wars movies. Again, it's the material, and I
yeah,
get that. Brie Larson was better in the Marvels. Like I said, she gets to have a wider range of emotions or whatever. I still just don't. I have still have trouble buying into her. To me, it's when she has to be the tough guy. I don't buy into the fact that she's one of the most powerful, toughest beings in the Marvel universe. I can't buy it, at
Yeah.
all. She doesn't really do well, with that.
Loki ending is a masterpiece. Salve from Brazil. I agree with you 100%. I think Jim does as well.
Yes.
That is probably, when you combine the two seasons together, the best Marvel television yet.
Yeah. And for all the people who have said that they didn't care for the endings of some of the series and from the movies, I say, okay, the ending to Loki is for you then. That was a good and if this is the end of the series, then they did it
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I'm good with it if that's the end of the series. I'm also good with it if they can come up with a good way to move it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Ed says, I thought she played Miss Marvel. I assume you mean Captain Marvel as an arrogant bee, because I don't think you're talking about Iman Vellani. You're talking about Brie Larson.
Right.
And it turned me off on the movie. I think she was trying to be funny, but it didn't come across that way. It came out like a know-it-all sarcasm.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
I can pretty much
But,
agree with
but
that.
again, I think that's the material and the direction, because you, if you get a chance, watch her appearance on the Tonight Show.
Okay.
She was just on Friday night, and she is silly and self-deprecating, and talks about how her and Samuel L. Jackson really have become besties.
Yep, I've heard that. Yep.
And how at one point Samuel, they said, "We need another take, Sam." He goes, "For my second favorite actress, anything," and she's like, "Wait, who's your or second favorite second favorite co-star?" He's like, "Well, who's your first?" He says, "Me."
I saw the little thing where she showed up at the movie theater for a first showing of the Marvels, and then she took a call from Jackson and
Yep.
held it up for everybody to see the call. That was cute. Yeah, I'm glad those two are
This
besties.
this is a story about her she told in the Tonight Show, which I absolutely love. She adopted a rescue dog.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to figure out a name for him. Now, there's a couple ways that you come up with a name for a dog. One of which is you look at them and you go, "You're going to be Fido." And you keep using the name until they respond.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people who will say names and see which one the dog reacts to.
Okay.
She's that type.
Uh-huh.
She and her friends spent like a couple days trying to find something that the dog would react to. Guess what the dog's name is? 6:30.
Okay.
She said, "I gave it a day, tried it again." That's the only name he would react to. So her dog's name is 6:30.
And before I forget, Pizza Dog is in the Marvels in the Kate Bishop scene. Yep. And I was pretty excited about that.
All right, we better wrap it up.
Okay.
We'll probably talk more about Loki next week, because I don't necessarily think we gave it enough. The computer issues, I think,
I agree.
cost us some time. Maybe a little more on the Marvels or what comes out of that. Also, I finished reading The Man Who Stole Time, the old Avengers novel.
Yeah.
And was blown away when I realized these were not written for the younger readers.
True.
There were some references in it.
Mm-hmm.
Early on, there were references to like Devo and stuff. Like, okay, this is definitely a 70s thing.
Yeah.
There was a reference at one point to a certain shop in the future that had services that would make Larry Flint blush.
Yep.
Or there's another moment where there's a woman wearing 2 feathers that comes up to talk to the Avengers, who finds Beast particularly attractive, sits on his lap, and they talk about how he smiles and she shifts. and that there's probably supposed to have been a third feather on her outfit.
If I remember correctly, there's one of the paperbacks that's an anthology one. It has like 4 or 5 stories in it. And there is a story in that with the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, and it starts off, I think she's literally walking around in the nude, if I remember correctly, that however the story begins, or there's something like that. And I remember like being a little surprised when I was reading that because of the description. So yeah, they're not exactly kids' books, no.
Now, they did start doing that stuff in the comics later on. I remember in the early 80s, there was a Avengers book where Wasp was suddenly attacked poolside.
Yes.
And wasn't wearing one of her costumes with unstable molecules.
Yes.
And literally you see her flying off naked, holding the strap of her purse.
Yep. I remember that issue well. I got it off the newsstand. Yep.
And later she's wearing like a hanky.
Yeah, it's like a napkin or something tied. Yeah.
Yeah, with like a hair tie holding it as a belt.
I remember that very well, yes.
Yeah, it's like, nudity, women were naked in comics a lot.
Yes, yep.
Because they knew their audience, and that's like, that's not. But all right, we're going to wrap it up there. We'll be back next week.
Okay.
But yeah, and I don't necessarily know what the big stories are going to be, so there's a good chance we'll go deeper into Loki. So,
and we can always hope there's some more news that will come out.
That's right.
Yeah.
So have a great week, everybody.